Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us. The purpose of this informational call is to review the Congestion Revenue Rights Exchange Agreement between the ISO and the Transmission Agency of Northern California, also known as TANC, and we are planning to file this agreement with FERC in November of this year. Debbie's going to review that later. We do have Debbie Levine here. She's going to be presenting. Also in the room I have Mark Rothletter and John Anders. We did post this presentation. We issued a market notice, I think it was last Thursday, and posted this presentation. It's very brief. Debbie's just going to go over the background and then also summarize the agreement, and then we'll go over the next steps. So we are recording the meeting today. We're going to make that recording available out on the page where this presentation is posted. That is on the miscellaneous stakeholder meetings page. You can find that by going to the Stay Informed tab, select Meetings and Events, and then you'll see miscellaneous there. So with that, I'll turn it over to Debbie.
Thank you so much, Christina. Thank you. So in 2013, the CAISO entered into an agreement with Pacific Corp, whereby Pacific Corp was granted optional congestion revenue rights in exchange for them turning over transmission capacity on the Pacific AC intertie, or the PACI. During the settlement conference on that agreement, TANC requested that the CAISO allow that option available to other transmission owners that had transmission ownership rights that could be valuable to the CAISO and the CAISO's market participants. So we committed that we would develop a process to enable others to have the opportunity to turn over and exchange their transmission capacity for option CRRs. Next slide. So finally, it's taken us a bit of time, but this month, actually just last week, we went ahead and executed the agreement between TANC and the ISO that allows TANC will go ahead and turn over to the ISO rights on the California-Oregon intertie, and then in return for that, we'll go ahead and provide them with option CRRs. Substantively, this is the same as the Pacific Corp agreement. The only difference is that in this agreement for TANC, we're going to be doing it on a month-by-month basis, and in the Pacific Corp agreement, it was actually done on a quarterly basis. But the CAISO believes that this increase on capacity that will be available for the CAISO market participants will increase the market efficiency across the COI and have more capacity available for our market participants. So that's the background. Does anybody have any questions regarding the background at this point?
So if you have a question, you can raise your hand by pressing #2. And Marco, let me know if anybody enters the queue, please.
We have no callers at this time.
Thank you very much. So the summary of the CRR exchange agreement with TANC is that 30 days prior to the CRR, and there's a typo, it should be allocation, not auction period, TANC is going to go ahead and release a quantity of COTP capacity for the following month. That amount of COTP capacity will be converted and will no longer be on the TANC OAT, or their open access transmission tariff, or on their OASIS. And in return for that, the CAISO is going to give TANC option CRRs, and we will go ahead and on our OASIS increase the amount of capacity on the COTP. We already have, through PG&E and other PTOs, capacity on the California-Oregon transmission project, so we'll just be increasing the amount of capacity that's available. You'll be able to have capacity going either north to south or south to north. The sources will be either at Captain Jack or the Tracy 500 if you want to go from north to south. If you want to go from south to north, it'll be the Tracy 500 back up to a sink at the Captain Jack 500. The CAISO is going to make all of the capacity that TANC turns over to us available for market participants. And similar to the PACI agreement, if there are any D-rates on the line, all the D-rates are going to be treated consistent with the existing operation of the COI, and the quantity of CRRs paid will be adjusted accordingly. So that's in essence, kind of a summary of what the exchange agreement does. Does anyone have any questions on that?
Marco, let me know if anybody enters the queue.
We do have a question on the line. Okay. Caller, your line is unmuted. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi, this is Sandeep Arora with Dallas Power. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hi, Sandeep.
Go ahead, Sandeep.
Sorry about the background noise. I'm on the road, but it's a quick question. The capacity, the month-ahead transfer to CAISO from tank, is that like for the entire month, a fixed amount, or could that be variable amounts, different hours of the day, different days of the month? How does that part work? And part two of my question is there a maximum that CAISO expects tank would ever transfer, or could that maximum be really the entire capacity on Cot B?
So let me answer your first question first. The amount of capacity that they turn over to us is a set amount of megawatts, 24/7 for the entire month. So it's not going to vary on an hourly basis. It's a block of capacity that they'll turn over. And as far as max is concerned, I suppose it could be, their entire entitlement of the COTP, but the discussions that we've had with them is they're going to, start, nice and slow probably on this, and hopefully over time, once people get more comfortable with it, and depending upon how the revenues result from the options, will gain knowledge over, the coming months as to how much usage the tank will take of the converting their capacity into COTP, into CRR options.
This is Mark. I would just add that I think over time we'll see maybe a pattern created, and that may take some time to do, but that's why you need to get started.
Right. Does that answer your question, Sandeep?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Yes. Caller, your line is now unmuted. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Debbie. This is Pushkar Wagle from Sane Resource Consultants. How are you doing?
Good, Pushkar. How are you?
Doing well. Quick question. When we say this additional capacity from CAISO would be released in terms of CRR for the COTP capacity, would that result in increase in the capacity or increase in the CRRs that you would do, that LSs would do in the nominations process too, or it's strictly limited to the auction process?
It's strictly limited to the auction process.
Okay. Well, thank you for that clarification. That's all I had.
Certainly.
Any other questions?
Caller, your line is now unmuted. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Jonathan Neal from PowerX. I just had a question about the usage of the COT-P. Does this mean that the rating of the COT-P ISO intertie is going to be different every month based off of the tank donation?
That's correct.
So we can expect varying TTCs every month based off of their donation?
Well, no, hold on a second. The rating doesn't change every month. The rating will change as a result of physical capability. The amount that is available transmission capacity through the release will change.
Right, the ATC.
ATC.
Right.
So does that mean, so the current COT-P ISO, I believe it's 30 some odd megawatts.
Yeah.
Does that mean that whole rating is going to go up to the complete tank rating, and a certain amount is going to be held back as unscheduled TR capacity?
No, the other way around. So let's say, as an example, tank releases 30 megawatts to the CAISO for December of 2019, if it were in place by then. So instead of having 33 megawatts, we'd have 63 megawatts available on the COTP.
Okay, so then that does mean that the TTC is actually changing because the TTC would raise from 30 to
Yeah, I think the weird thing is about that TTC is not the full COTP transmission capacity.
Gotcha.
It's only the amount of capacity that ISO has ability to use in its market. So it's a little different than the normal TTC number.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's where I was getting confused. Okay.
So I'm still not clear, though. Will that number be changing every month?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
We have no further questions at this time.
Okay. All right, so the next steps are we're having the stakeholder call today. We're looking to file the agreement with FERC because it's a non-conforming agreement in mid-November and we'll be requesting a agreement effective date of February 1st, 2020, which means with the February 1st effective date, the first month that Tank could go ahead and obtain the option CRRs would be March of 2020. And that's all I have. Are there any questions? No other questions, Marco?
No questions at this time.
Okay. Thank you all for joining us. Greatly appreciate it, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, Marco.
That concludes our conference. Thank you for using AT&T. You may now disconnect.